And welcome back to Every Game Ever. I'm still on the speeder bike, and I have not died.
I'm still seated comfortably in my Phuong chair.
Is that what's pronounced?
I think so, according to Google Translate.
Yeah, that's more than I do. Okay, I'm hugging the wall, and I can't stop. Alright, there we go.
Well, it's a pretty sexy wall. Ah, the Shrine of Penis.
The obelisk of Great Lord Longdick.
I just like this idea where it's just like, oh god, like you're supposed to be like this fearless Jedi who's overcoming this, but in reality you're just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, why are they chasing me?
Alright, I have to ride this out. Yep.
I'm gonna say maybe the physics in this game don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do, so I'm going to show all of you at home, is to cut these guys down with a lightsaber.
I sure hope you do, because otherwise this is going to be really disappointing.
Yeah. And I've had to get off the speeder bike before, and just do it. Did you see him? He's like, oh yeah, he just blew himself up.
It's because they got because every time you run into a wall, you lose a little bit of health, and they do too. It's nice to see that they get the same rules that we do.
Yeah. Boom. There you go.
Ooh, it's all slow-mo.
Yeah.
Boy, the Matrix really influenced a lot, didn't it?
They spent a lot of time on this, so give them a break.
I'm not saying it's bad. Just was that era.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very sci-fi whistle, Terry. Good job.
Oh, I'm really good at the UFO whistle. I would do it, but it wouldn't be bad.
Probably, yeah. Get over here!
Closer!
Why are you being a dick? Just die! Why are you fucking die already?
You're not my fucking mother!
You're not my fucking mother!
So good at it!
It's
did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because he's all nasally.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know, we were huge fans of The Room. We recently got to watch the screening of it.
Yeah. We went to a screening of The Room, and there they gave us free passes to go see an early screening of The Disaster Artist.
Yeah. I don't want to talk a lot about The Disaster Artist, because it's just going to get bogged down with basically our previous conversations of it, where it's like, I liked it, but was disappointed, but I liked it, but I was disappointed, but I liked it, but it was
Yeah.
And so we'll just leave that alone, but if you like The Room, you'll probably like The Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
You'll also love the book, The Disaster Artist.
Oh, yeah.
Because we love that book, The Disaster Artist.
I don't reread books like, oh shit, get off! Oh, that's close. I'm okay, everybody, I'm safe.
I'm alright. Nobody's.
Okay, now I've got to work on trying to find my next place. Okay.
The best part was the three blaster bolts before, or it wasn't even like he was trying to shoot you. It was like, fuck, how do I stop? Do they steal these bikes?
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah. Or maybe not. I don't even think they can get up here. Alright.
Yeah, no.
I like when you hit the speed up button, he's like, whoa, doggy!
Have you ever been on like a motorcycle or something? You've done that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the look on my face was probably pretty similar to that. In my mind, I looked better, but I probably didn't.
So the first time I was ever on a four-wheeler, which was only a couple of years ago, I totally had that moment where it was like throttle, like, I wonder what happens if, holy fuck! Like, stop! Well, the worst part is because you have your inertia pulling back, so you keep pulling down the accelerator, and you can't, like, sort of just letting go. There's no way to, like, ease yourself back to a normal thing.
Get you. Get some.
Terry, I get the feeling, like, in the early 2000s, you were, like, the kind of kid who was unironically yelling that at, like, his video games.
I don't ever remember doing it, but I'm not going to deny it.
You're like, yeah, it sounds like something I would do, but I can't remember if I have, so...
Yeah. Woo!
Man, it's been forever since I cried at a minigame. Like, out of anger and frustration.
Yeah. I wanted to cry when I bought Star Wars Battlefront by EA.
The sad thing is this happened years ago, and it's still so topical when they just released the sequel, and everyone's all like, oh, fuck you, EA.
Well, I used to love the Star Wars Battlefront games.
Oh,
They're
no.
some of my favorites.
It's one of the ones we keep talking about playing on the show at some point when, you know, we feel like we can figure out how to do a two-player game that doesn't turn extremely nasty.
But yeah, I picked up the reboot, the relaunch, whatever.
You, like, skim to the side a lot.
I'm not doing that. I don't get a choice. It just bounces you around.
I wonder if that's actually how the gameplay is, or if that's how the 360 emulates this.
I don't know. See, because I'll keep... if you see it every now and then, yeah, you see that I get, like, kicked over. Like, every now and then I'll just be flying straight, and then I'll just jerk over.
Well, you keep jerking forward, too. That's the weird thing.
So this is boost. So that's intentional.
And you've already, like, halfway killed your thing by hitting all that shit.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure.
So what are the other two bars? Like, I think the blue one's the boost.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any sort of pressing the buttons. Yeah, it's probably, I don't know.
You're bad at being a Jedi. Throw on my right side. It's quick to the left.
I'm not really focusing on them because it's just like...
Yeah,
once I get like 5... Yeah, once I get like, 5 feet away from them. See, I'm not doing this.
Hands are off the controller.
Yeah. There we go.
Maybe between episodes I'll have to look this up, because this cannot be how the game was at launch, like on the original Xbox, unless that's what must have happened when we were in the air, and someone must have died, so it did slow-mo and was trying to track. Use the turbo.
Woohoo!
Come on, Selma!
How those old Duke boys gonna get out of this one? Yeah, I'm not doing. Okay, there we go.
Oh fuck! Yeah, because I know the 360, like, the emulation isn't perfect going back to the original Xbox. A problem that I have when I try to play like Jet Set Radio Future is the textures that they use for the graffiti don't show up really well, and especially like on the custom graffiti, like that you can make yourself. Like, you can't even like make your own custom graffiti in the garage anymore because like the image file that you're editing just shows like a blank gray screen.
Right. I'm pretty sure this is it. Yeah. Let me just use the force to put this pipe away. Pull.
These cultists sure know how to cover their tracks.
Where the fuck were you, Kyle?
Lost to Qatar and not yet returned from their respective missions.
I needed help. I was running into a wall.
I was trying to stop and that wasn't working.
Alright, next.
I picked Zanju. It's your turn.
Alright, let's see, what is rescue mission? Running guild on that local hut crime lord. Oh, this is a good one.
We have received word from a mining guild on Narkrita that a number of elders are held captive by the local hut crime lord. These elders went to negotiate a treaty with the hut, but never returned. The crime lord claims no one ever came to see him. I'm sure we can trust him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a crime lord. You don't get to be a crime lord by being dishonest. So what new power are we going to start working on, Terry?
Let's see. Force protection's a good one to have.
Especially if we plan on going out with a special lady later.
I don't even think it matters what weapons you take.
Remember, always use force protection.
They'd probably make a lot of money if they made condoms called force protection.
You know, you just make them. You make them glow in the dark in a bunch of neon colors, and then you can play lightsabers. Vroom, vroom. You like that, honey? God, no. I'm gonna have sex with this thing. Meanwhile, we return to the fugitive, already in progress.
I didn't kill her!
I don't care.
You know, normally I'm the one going into danger while Jan flies the ship. But this'll work too. Find those prisoners and bring them back here for pickup.
Hey, bye.
I can't look at that ship the same way now that I know this is like they're staring at nothing.
You did. That was the first thing I noticed when I saw that. Like, because like you got like windows up to here, and then like they have like a screen up there, but there was nothing on the screen.
Yeah.
Like the screen was turned off.
Yeah. That was a delayed reaction.
Vroom. And now
Explosion.
So we need to get the pyrotechnics guy in here. He needs to explain himself to the director.
Don't even get 10 meters before the Rancor is
So what alien species are those?
I was like thinking about it.
Leia
I'm like,
disguises herself as one of those, like as one of those bounty hunters, right? Because that's what I would assume with that mask that she had on, with like the visor up here that stuck out like a foot from her face. I always assumed that was a helmet made for those guys, and their eyes would fit right in there.
Yeah, maybe.
Dun, 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 dun.
Ooh, I wonder what's going on here.
So Terry, you're a big fan of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the name of the Mos Eisley Cantina band?
Oh. Like, my brain's broken right now and I want to say Max Headroom, but I know it's not it. It's,
definitely not Max Headroom.
Yeah. Okay, let me think here.
Hurry! Get us out of here before the Rancor comes.
Rancor?
Is he Rancankers?
Okay, I'm gonna have to give up because I can't think of it right now.
I can't. I don't know the name of it. I'm honestly asking if you knew it. It's a while way back when episode 2 was coming out. The radio station was doing like a like win $100 and tickets to go see Star Wars Episode 2, right? Or maybe it was even Episode 1. It was like it was one of those like, holy shit, you could actually go see it the day before it comes out kind of deal. And the radio's question was, what's the name of the Jedi Cantina band? And this was still before smartphones. This was before you could like Googling things was like a thing that you really did for stupid questions like that.
Jeeves.
Not even that. Like you wouldn't probably use a search engine for that because it'd be like, well, they're not gonna know. You know, you'd think of it in the same kind of deal as. Would you find that in an encyclopedia? No, that's something you had to know.
Yeah.
Is the way clear?
But I was blown away that they actually had a name. I think that was the first insight that, yeah, no, there are a lot of obsessive nerds who like Star Wars.
And Star Wars was created by an obsessive nerd who named all of these characters.
I get the feeling that I don't think I'd like George Lucas now, but if I met young George Lucas, we'd probably get along. You know? Because it seems like young George Lucas, at least from like the few things that I've seen him back like when he was still filming like the first movie and everything,
Okay,
like
it's clear now.
I took this key card.
he seems like the kind of person who'd be like, this is my story, and he'd take his own like story with like a grain of salt and be like, I know it sounds silly, but this is something like I'm really passionate about, this world I created, you know? But would also be the first one that's like, yeah, I know it's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
By the time you get to Star Wars Episode 1, it feels like he may have started drinking his own Kool-Aid a lot. Where it's like, no, this is a large epic, and like many fans worship me, and they are right to do so, kind of deal. So Every time we start talking about George Lucas, though, I always remember that same Mad TV skit we always talk about, where he's in the Ewok costume, was like, "No, it's not your turn. It's my turn. Then take your turn." Yeah, how do you like that? That's fantastic.
I used to do that. Now I think I've been thinking of Patton Oswalt's bit that he does with George Lucas. Was like, I just imagine like going back in time and running into George Lucas on the street and just being like, "Hey man, look, I know you must get this all the time, but I love Star Wars. Like I'm a huge Star Wars fan. This, thank you so much." Like, "Oh, well, you're a Star Wars fan. I'm working on the prequels." "Oh, you're working on the prequels? What?" And he's like, "Yeah, the first movie you got Anik is like, oh, you get to see like Darth Vader. You get to see him when he's a little kid." I'm just seeing if there's anything around here.
Oh, okay.
You get to see him when he's a little kid. "Oh, is he like Damien from The Omen?" "No, he just misses his mom and he's sad." And that's pretty much like the entire thing. Is like every time it's like, "Oh, you get to see meet Boba Fett. Oh man, that's badass." "Yeah, and then his dad, but he's a little kid, and then his dad dies, and he's sad." It's like, well, in the third movie you get to see the Death Star. "Oh man, so like you get to see like a fully functional Death Star?" "Oh no, it's just like the it's the frame of the Death Star." It's like, oh, it sounds terrible. And you look really sad. He's like, "You look really sad. You want some ice? You want some ice cream?" "Yeah, I'd like some ice cream. Here's some rock salt."
Here's some sea salt ice cream. Okay, I don't like usually doing these kinds of little games, but if you could go back in time and influence a young George Lucas with the prequels, what would you say? You can go in and say like one thing to him. This is like a fucking shooting range. Like, no, don't shoot.
All right, here's what I would say. I would say whenever you screen test an actor, screen test them on a green screen. Make sure they can act on a green screen, because I honestly think that's the problem with with a lot of the acting in those movies, is that green screen acting was so new at that time that a lot of these actors hadn't really worked much with a green screen. And not only that, they hadn't... Get away! I'll take him!
Fluffy, no! Like, he's got like a fucking lightsaber sticking through his head and he stares at you while it's burning a hole through his cerebral cortex. Like, ow!
I can't remember which one's the way out. I think it's yellow.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, a lot of the acting problems they had was that they couldn't act on a green screen. They didn't have the imagination to do it.
Yeah, like, it had never really come up for a lot of these actors, and they'd never acted on green screen to that scale. Because so much of it was just like, okay, you're going to run around on this green screen, and guess what? You're going to be... there's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on. And he's like, oh, okay, so I'm just going to run around, do some jumps and stuff. And like, yeah, and we're going to cut in all this cool stuff.
I would just think of,
No!
what's
No!
Ewan McGregor in the speeder from the second movie.
Yeah.
It's like gifts with sound.
Run!
Oh. Yeah, like the green screen thing, like that really was a big issue. I honestly think that's a large part of the reason why young Anakin had such issues. Is that it's like, I mean, you get like when you get good kids acting, you know, throughout history, it's usually because the director went above and beyond to make it so the kids could be as genuine as possible. You had the Willy Wonka's Candy Room. You had Stanley Kubrick basically bending over backwards, so the little kid didn't even know he was in a horror film until years later, you know? And for George Lucas to kind of slap down an 8-year-old who really, honestly, didn't have that much acting experience and be like, all right, now you're feeling sad about this, and, you know, you're talking to a CGI puppet, which is going to be represented by this tennis ball.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would say, is... Because it's like, I could go in and I could just be like, and start tearing apart every little thing about the movies. But you know what? I think that's probably the biggest thing. Is I would say, hey, blend together more stuff with digital effect. Blend together more practical and digital effects. And when you screen test an actor, screen test them on a green screen.
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that they can act on a green screen. Because, yeah, it's... I saw a thing with they were talking to Ewan McGregor years later. Or they were talking to him after the third movie or something like that. And he was kind of talking like, yeah, it's actually really hard when
You've
you're
already been
on.
here.
I think I need to go through here, and I'll get back over into this little area, because there's third or fourth, yeah, vendors, 3 or 4. I need to go back in. I was pretty sure I'd got all those people out.
So, next time on Every Game Ever, I'll touch on my answer that I've had to that question.
Okay.
And maybe we'll be able to outsmart the Rancor.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Bye.